We thank you very much for deciding to compete in the UAE Global Management Challenge. The competition is based on a sophisticated simulation model where participants like yourself form teams that manage a virtual company in competition with other teams. Global Management Challenge is the world's largest strategy and management competition. In excess of 30,000 participants from more than 30 countries around the world take part in the competition every year. The competition is open to young professionals and university students. This presentation will take about 25 minutes of your time to provide you an overview of the decision sheet, which is an online form and the principal means of communicating your and your team's decisions to Global Management Challenge Simulator. In this presentation, we will cover the topics presented here, with a brief narrative explaining each slide. Player's Manual and Company History are the two key materials made available to all the participants taking part in the competition. Player's Manual is the principal resource that explains the organization and functions of the virtual company, the contents of the quarterly management report and the decision sheet, and provides guidance to prepare for the competition. Player's Manual includes useful tips for decision-making for the virtual company. Player's Manual has been prepared by Global Management Challenge Head Office and is the basic document that is available to all participants of Global Management Challenge across the world. If in doubt, Player's Manual should be consulted for the most reliable and authentic information. Company History presents the management reports for the last 5 quarters of your virtual company, while it was being managed by the previous management that your team has now replaced. Company History is the starting point for the competition and is identical for all the companies in your group. You will need to make extensive use of Player's Manual and Company History to participate and excel in the competition. In addition, UAE Global Management Challenge has compiled resources based on the information available in Player's Manual that UAE participants may find useful. These resources comprise 4 PowerPoint presentations entitled Competition Overview, the Virtual Company, the Management Report, and the Decision Sheet. A separate PDF document provides a repository of frequently asked questions. We encourage you to use the resources as appropriate and provide us your feedback where you find inaccuracies, or if you feel we could improve the presentation or other aspects of these resources. It should, however, be noted that in case of conflict, Player's Manual will prevail. The competition follows a cyclical process where participating teams start with review of company history, develop their strategy, make decisions for the next quarter, receive management report, review the management report, and make further decisions, and so on. This continues for each quarter in the life of the virtual company, where each cycle or each virtual quarter is equivalent to 1 week in real life during the trial run and round 1. In this presentation, we explain the contents of the decision sheet, also referred to as the decision input form. The first step on receipt of the last quarter management report is to check that your decisions were correctly entered into the simulator. All of your previous decisions are presented in the first worksheet of the management report, entitled Your Decisions. Please check this worksheet by comparing with your own record of the decisions you had taken for the last quarter. There are 3 ways in which the numbers shown in this worksheet may differ from the numbers entered by you for the last quarter. Such differences will be marked by an appropriate symbol. One reason may be that you did not enter a number in one of the fields, or your decisions were not communicated within the specified deadline. This will be denoted by a plus sign next to the number. In this case, default values will have been used. Please refer to Player's Manual for default values. Another possible reason is that the number entered was not possible in terms of the simulation. In such cases, your decision will have been changed to the nearest possible value and marked by an asterisk next to the relevant number. For example, an asterisk might appear if you were trying to dismiss 5 assembly workers when you only have 4, or you were trying to buy a machine when your credit worthiness was inadequate. This may also happen where, due to market conditions, you may have been able to recruit only 3 assembly workers when you tried to recruit 5. Another situation where asterisks often appear is where you enter product delivery quantities that are in excess of the production capacity of your company at that time. A third possibility is that the number was changed due to unforeseen circumstances, such as an insurance event. This is indicated by an exclamation mark. If a number is different and there is no error indicator, you should contact the simulation controller immediately, but no later than 24 hours from processing of management report, so that a check can be made against the decisions which you sent. If the number turns out to have been wrongly entered into the simulator, then the appropriate action will be taken by the competition organizers. For each decision, there are minimum and maximum limits that can be entered, and default values that the simulator will use if a decision is not entered. It is important to be aware of these limits to ensure your decisions are correctly communicated to the simulator. Also, it is important to pay attention to the units in case of each decision. Some decisions have to be entered in euros, while others in thousands of euros, and yet others in minutes, in percentage terms, in number of units, and so on. Please keep the table presented on this slide and the next two slides handy when completing the decision sheet. You and your team will be spending considerable time and effort on making your decisions. It is just as important to ensure that your decisions are communicated accurately and on a timely basis. This means that, as a team, you should establish and implement a protocol for formalizing and recording agreed decisions and for communicating those decisions to the simulator. Please follow these tips carefully to avoid any unexpected surprises. The most important of all the tips is the last one. Please make a note of the deadline for decision submission and upload your decisions well before this deadline to ensure that last-minute hiccups such as internet connectivity issues or incorrect data entry do not jeopardize your efforts. Participants who are the managers of the virtual company need to take some 75 different decisions on an online decision form such as this. This looks like a lot of numbers and may be intimidating for some, but really, most decisions are quite intuitive. In the rest of this presentation, we discuss each set of decisions that you are required to make. The first set of decisions is about advertising. You and your team, the virtual company managers, have to decide how much to spend on corporate advertising and how much for each product in each market where you plan to market your products. The second set of decisions is about the price that the virtual company wants to charge for each product in each location. As in real life, this is often decided based on management's perception of the demand for their products and their overall strategy for the company. Each quarter, you decide the number of each product that you plan to deliver to each area. If you have insufficient machine capacity or skilled labor, then production will automatically be limited to whatever quantities you can make. Quality control will reject any substandard products, and the remainder will be delivered in proportion to the number asked for in your original production schedule. When your production schedule is cut back in this way, your decisions, reproduced in the next quarter management report, will show an asterisk next to each such number. You may improve your product by taking up a major improvement if one has been reported by your research and development department, by enhancing the budget for product development to improve your chances of achieving product improvements, by allowing assembly times in excess of the minimum benchmarks, and by using premium materials. Introducing improvements. Introducing improvements enhances your product image in the eyes of consumers, so that your consumer assessment rating, the number of stars awarded by product assessment panels, is likely to increase. However, if you have significant unsold stocks of those products, those stocks will be rendered obsolete. Product development budget. Spending on product development is an important way in which you can enhance product quality. However, regardless of how much you spend, you cannot assume that your efforts will be immediately successful. Product development is cumulative, so that the more you spend, the greater the chance of making real improvements. A steady effort is most likely to be effective. skilled worker time. In general, the longer you allow your skilled workers to assemble a product, the better finish it will have and the more reliable it will be. However, beware of law of diminishing returns, which means that beyond a certain point, any additional time allowed will have little or no incremental benefit. Premium quality material. You may also improve the build quality and reliability of your products by using premium quality materials rather than basic materials. You can decide to use such materials to whatever extent you wish by specifying the percentage of premium materials that would be used in the production process. Quality materials are also less likely to be a danger to the public. Premium quality materials are, however, significantly more expensive. Premium quality materials are purchased from suppliers who deal in superior, environmentally friendly materials. The price for such materials is a fixed percentage above the spot price. Deliveries of premium materials are made on a just-in-time basis to meet your production schedule, and therefore do not need to be held in stock. You can decide to outsource some or all of your machining work to external subcontractors, in addition to, or instead of, machining components in your own factory. Any subcontracted components that you order will become available in the quarter after next. You can then assemble them, along with any components machined in your own factory. Your operations department will use any outsourced components first. If required, machining will then be used in order to complete the schedule. Any components that remain after your production schedule is completed will be held in stock to be assembled later. If you have sufficient space, you will hold such stocks in your factory. If not, you will need to store them in external warehouses at a cost shown in Table 13 of Player's Manual. You can sell your products in two ways: to retailers in the EU and NAFTA areas, who then, in turn, sell to their customers and directly to customers worldwide, including the EU and NAFTA areas, via the Internet. The European market is large, and therefore you may need several agents to provide complete coverage of the area. Their effectiveness will depend on the level of support you give them. The higher the commission they are paid, the greater will be their selling motivation, especially if you support them with an adequate level of advertising. You need to offer both reasonable support and commission if you are to successfully appoint and retain your agents. In general, the same factors that motivate selling agents in the European market apply to distributors in the NAFTA area. However, distributors are not active sellers of your products. Instead, they respond to demand created by your advertising. Commission is not intended to stimulate demand for your products, but contributes to the distributor's profit and other variable costs. Again, you need to provide both adequate support and reasonable commission. For online sales, order processing and credit card payments are handled for you by secure e-commerce software. Orders are then passed to a single distribution agent to be delivered. The efficiency and care with which this is done will affect your marketing image, so that poor service from your distribution agent will reflect badly on the company and its products. Conversely, prompt and efficient service will boost your image. You need to offer both reasonable support and commission to ensure that your online sales distributor does a good job. All three products are made from the same basic materials, but the material content varies product by product. Furthermore, you may decide to use a proportion of premium quality materials for any or all of your products. You decide how to buy basic materials. You can buy them at the current spot price for delivery next quarter or on the futures market for delivery in 3 months or 6 months' time. Prices for each option are quoted in last quarter's management report. Materials ordered for future delivery incur no storage charges, but all material becomes your property from the time it is ordered and is valued on your balance sheet. Once material is delivered, you may have to pay storage costs if there is insufficient space in your factory after allowing for the area occupied by your machines and assembly operations. If your production plan requires more materials than you have available for next quarter, then sufficient additional materials are bought automatically on the spot market in order for you to complete production. Such emergency purchases are at a premium over the normal price. You employ specialist independent contractors to carry out maintenance on your machines. Each quarter, you decide how many hours of planned maintenance per machine you wish to contract out. The more preventive maintenance you are able to do, the fewer breakdowns there will be. And if a breakdown does occur, the shorter the time before the machine is back in service again. Preventive maintenance also slows the rate at which machines become less efficient. However, if your allocation of hours to contract maintenance is not sufficient to cover basic repair times, any additional hours needed to meet this primary effort will be charged at a higher rate per contract hour. Shift working. The capacity of your machine shop in terms of productive hours depends on the number of machines that you have in your factory and the shift level which you decide to operate, diminished by the number of hours lost through breakdowns and slower machine speeds due to aging. Number of ports. Your internet service provider, who sells you web hosting capacity, provides you with access to the internet. Your website should have the capacity to cope with the volume of traffic that it might attract. This capacity is defined in terms of the number of access ports it has. You decide the number of ports that you want to operate, but any change requires 1 quarter's notice and therefore will not be fully effective until the quarter after next. Demand on your website will vary from day to day and also throughout the day, so that deciding how many ports to install is not straightforward. If you are not able to give quick and efficient service to visitors at peak times, your marketing image may decline quite sharply. The management report for last quarter shows online usage statistics, which may be helpful. Web development. Software determines the quality of your website in terms of attractiveness, ease of use, etc., and you decide how much to spend on website development, which is mainly for such software. Regular, independent surveys give star ratings, which show how customers rate your website. 5 stars are the best possible. 1 star is the worst. Such information is available at an additional cost as part of competitors' business activity within Group Information Worksheet of the Management Report. Skilled assembly workers are the product of intensive training and may be difficult to recruit. Effective recruiting depends not only on current earnings, but also on motivation, the quality of goods which you produce, and the ability of your personnel management. It also depends on the number of unemployed available in the labor pool. In periods of full employment, recruitment can be very difficult, and trying to tempt people away from other companies may lead to a very unstable labor market. Alternatively, in order to acquire a small number of assembly workers, you may decide to train unemployed, unskilled workers. Although more expensive than recruitment, training is more certain. Whether you decide to recruit or train, the new employees will not be available for production until the quarter after next. Furthermore, you may be limited by the space available in your factory for more assembly workers. If this is insufficient, then your decisions will be reduced to a level that is possible, and this could be 0. Basic hourly rate. Every quarter, you decide the basic hourly rate payable to the skilled assembly workers. The Business Intelligence section of the Group Information Worksheet shows comparative information regarding assembly wage rate for all the companies in your group. You should endeavor to keep your assembly workers motivated to ensure that your workers continue to work for your company and you are able to recruit new workers when required. Average monthly earnings is a key factor determining worker satisfaction. However, as well as ensuring that you have enough motivated workers, your personnel department should also manage the cost of the workforce. Therefore, as in everything else, you need to establish an optimal point between cost and staff morale. Management budget. Your team assumes the role of the company's senior management and can consist of a chief executive and executives who are responsible for marketing, operations, personnel, and finance. You decide a management budget which is spent on outside services and expertise, directors' salaries, and general management expenses. The management budget influences the general quality of management, and this, in turn, affects efficiency in all parts of the company. Training. In addition to training unemployed, unskilled workers to become assembly workers, as described above, you may also decide to provide your staff with general skills training in order to improve their motivation, teamwork, and effectiveness. The training is measured in consultant days and charged at a rate per day. See Table 15. Typically, a consultant can provide training for about 5 to 10 employees each day. You decide the number of days training that should be provided next quarter. Your finance department is responsible for ensuring that the company's funds are managed efficiently in line with corporate strategy. This implies a variety of roles, which include monitoring profitability, controlling investment and borrowings, and managing the company's assets and dividend policy. Above all, it must work closely with the management team to maximize the company's investment performance, the criterion by which you will be judged. While all decisions and transactions have a financial impact, and the finance department supports the team on all such decisions, the decisions directly relevant to the finance department comprise shares issues and cancellation, dividend distribution, long-term loans and term deposit, CapEx decisions such as number of machines to buy or sell, and factory expansion decisions. Also, finance department decisions include the decision to obtain a suitable insurance cover against unexpected events. Details regarding these aspects have been presented in this and the following 6 slides. To help you make forecasts, certain economic and competitive information about your competitors' activities last quarter is available to you, free of charge. This consists of the kind of information that would normally be freely available in real life, such as product selling prices, total number of employees, basic skilled wage rates, and number of distributors. Apart from this free information, you can decide to subscribe to Audit Research, which monitors the sales of each product and provides information on how the market is divided between you and your competitors. This information costs a fixed amount each time you ask for it. The information gives market shares by volume of sales for each of the competing companies in the European market, the NAFTA market, and the online sales market. You can also decide to commission research about your competitors' business activities and products. This information costs you a fixed amount every time you ask for it. It includes total amounts spent on advertising, total amounts spent on product development, a consumer assessment rating of the product design quality, and a consumer assessment of the quality of your website, if relevant. We thank you for your time. We trust that this presentation was helpful. Please send us your feedback if you have suggestions for improvement. We are confident that you will find participation in UAE Global Management Challenge a rewarding and fulfilling experience, and wish you all the success. You may contact us by email info@managementchallenge.ae for more information.